Now back to the big story of the day. We're still in that euphoria of a Donald Trump presidency in the United States and the impact on emerging economies. Let's have this discussion now with the Chief Executive Officer Managing Director of SI Capital, Mr. Olugbenga Ogunipe, joins us here in the studio. Mr. Ogunipe, good morning. Good to see you in Nigeria. I know we met at Washington during the IMF World Bank meeting. Did you see a bit of the election? You know, of course, election started there. It's not like ours. Yeah. Were you able to go around to get views about the election, you know, before you left the US?
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me. Like you said, we met in the US and to cover the IMF program and the World Bank program. And then the following week is the US election. You can see the euphoria. Everybody was talking about it, what's going to happen. And then the results of the election has come and gone. And then it was a bit of a shock to many people to see that.
Was it a shock to you? Did you see Trump coming in?
Personally, it wasn't a shock to me. I mean, for someone that has been following the election, the polling and everything, even while I was in the US, I had interaction with a few people, and what they said, you see that, oh, this man is coming back truly, because what the US citizens are saying is that while he was there in his first time, they were able to afford a lot of things. They were able to go to the grocery and buy things. Inflation was down. So they are really looking for him to come back and do that magic again. So, I mean, it wasn't a shock to me.
Well, anyway, a lot of people, even here, said that issues around inflationary pressures globally, which started with, apart from COVID, then we had the Russian invasion into Ukraine. That's a major one. Now you have the Middle East. He has promised that, I mean, perhaps he has a magic wand, and all of that will reduce. And we know that once those are being calmed, then most likely inflationary pressure globally would reduce. But I mean, how does that affect us back here home in Africa, emerging economies?
So, like you said, during Trump era, inflation was low, but as soon as COVID came, pandemic disrupted all economics throughout the world, and then government started spending, and inflation started coming. I mean, to an average people over there, they didn't want to understand that. All they know is that this man done some magic, so he should come back and do it. So we also see that for emerging economies like Nigeria, inflation was so high even after the pandemic, and it's coming down a bit now, it's subsiding, and then we expect that it will continue to, because I mean, the economies all over the world now are experiencing a low inflation compared to pandemic period and even before the pandemic. So it's going to subside. It's going to start coming down. It's going to prices will continue to come down. That's what we expect to see in the coming months. And then if government can accelerate those programs that they have put in place, and I think African economies will experience a low inflation. It's an economic cycle.
It's not magic that you have Trump there does not automatically mean that, you know, African economies would begin to feel less pressure. I mean, for instance, we can expect a surging dollar, you know, and a gaining dollar means higher debt servicing for us, affects demand on oil because oil becomes more expensive and all of that. So I wonder what you see that Trump can do, you know, to help us.
The irony of it really is that Trump is America first. All his rhetoric has always been America first. So you wonder what is in it for us as a country, Nigeria, Africa as a whole. So it's kind of a bit dicey to see if Trump is going to help anybody outside America. So really, Nigeria and Africans as a whole, we need to now sit down and look at what can we do really on our own without having to depend on him. Because, but if you look at some of the programs that has been on ground, like the AGOA, the Africa Growth Opportunities Act, and then the pledge by the US to spend about $55 billion in the next 3 years in Africa, you see all those supposed to help us actually in sending our goods over there and lowering our tariff. But Trump has come to say no, he's going to even impose tariff on some of these things coming from China, maybe Africa as well. So, I mean, it's a long journey for most of African countries going into Trump presidency. It's a bit unclear what is going to happen. Again, you mentioned from yesterday's result, dollar has started gaining strength. So it means investors will really even be looking at investing in the U.S. economy, because a stronger dollar means a stronger, your wealth is strong and everything. So it's going to be like an influx of investment into that economy. So we see less investment happening in Africa. We see Nigeria looking for FDI. During the October 1 celebration, the president mentioned FDI increased. We hope that trajectory will also increase. It will help our reserve, help our foreign exchange. But this is a new president coming in saying no. He wants everything to be America first. So it's quite dicey, going forward, looking at it.
Is there any policy, any hedge African countries, Nigeria, can be taking at this time? It comes in, I think, in January. Is there anything we should look forward to doing, that could be as a hedge for the economy?
So I think what we can do is now to begin to deepen our relationship with the U.S., especially the lawmakers and the diplomats in the U.S. and the rest. But it's also funny, ironically, the Congress, both the Senate and the House, seems to be going to the Republicans. So it means Trump is going to have a free road, free way for anything that he wants to implement. So we really need to deepen that relationship. We need to convince and let them know that to invest in Africa is even better, it makes them more prosperous. African economy is largely undeveloped, so there is a lot of opportunities. So it's for any discerning investors, you can always see that the opportunities abound in Africa. So if they can get that message, they will come. But hey, we are talking about this man that wants to develop America first before any other thing. So it's, like I said, it's a tricky one. It's quite shall I say, unknown territory for most African
I guess it's also on the African countries to also look inwards and also, take care of their own, use your resources to develop your own.
Exactly.
After all, China did it.
Yes, exactly.
And now they can, almost stand shoulder to shoulder with the United States because they have developed.
The message that we should be preaching now is for Africa to sit up and develop their countries. We cannot depend no more on these countries to help us to develop our countries. Well,
I think Ukraine is the biggest victim in all of this. But anyways, thank you so much for your time. Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of FSI Capital Investment Limited, Mr. Olugbenga Ogundipe.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.